Afternoon, everybody. Buenos tardes, bienvenidos. Thank you for joining today. We're just going to wait 1 minute while everybody enters the webinar, and then we will get started. Voy a esperar 1 minuto mientras más personas entrar el seminario. Okay, fantastic. This webinar is advancing access to Latin American ebooks on the global markets, where we will be talking about the Project MUSE initiative to make more ebooks from Latin American university presses available to more libraries worldwide. I thank you very much for joining us today. My name is Phil Hearn, and I'm the Senior Publisher Relations Manager at Project MUSE. I'm joined by my friends Jill Barron and Sócrates Silva, co-chairs of the Electronic Resources Subcommittee at SALALM, the Seminar of the Acquisition of Latin American Library Materials, who will be moderating and co-hosting this joint webinar. Before I pass it to Jill and Sócrates to introduce our panel and begin the conversation, just a few housekeeping notes. First off, this is a bilingual panel with speakers in English and Spanish. Please ask questions in whichever language you prefer, and we will do our best to answer in kind. Hay habladores en inglés y español hoy. Por favor, hagan preguntas en su idioma preferido y vamos a responder lo mejor que podamos. Yo solo hablo un poco español, así que voy a hablar y responder principalmente en inglés. Please enter any questions in the Q&A section at the bottom of your screen. And feel free to ask questions throughout the session. We will have time to bring audience questions to the panelists at the end. Okay, let's get started. Vamos a empezar. As an aggregator of over 100,000 books from around the world, representing publishers in over 30 countries and 20 languages, at Project MUSE, we're always engaging with librarians, publishers, and users to learn what needs and challenges are not being met. A couple years back, through feedback and conversations with these stakeholders, we learned that there were real gaps in the market for scholarly books from Latin America. Libraries were having trouble purchasing these books through DRM-free models like Project MUSE. Publishers were having trouble breaking into the global institutional ebook market, and usage and turnaway data from the books that we did have signaled that users wanted more of it. So we engaged with our partnerships and friendships in this space to explore how MUSE could help fill these gaps. SALALM has been such a great partner to work with, hosting focus groups and open conversations with academic librarians to help us to better understand what their content needs are and how we can help. ULAC, the Association of University Presses of Latin America and the Caribbean, has facilitated outreach and conversations with many of the association's 350 plus members. Some publishers have been able to sign with Project MUSE directly and enter into our workflows to launch their books on the platform. But for many publishers, there are logistical challenges and other barriers that would make that difficult to sustain. So in order to support as many publishers as we possibly can, MUSE has entered relationships with 2 major partners in Latin America to facilitate the easy and efficient ingestion of metadata and files onto MUSE. These partners, Hipertexto Netizen and Siglo, each serve a wide range of publishers from across Latin America. Working with both vendors allows publishers to choose their preferred channel for supplying their titles to MUSE. To date, we have agreements with almost 100 publishers of scholarly books in Spanish. We began launching books on our platform this year in just the past couple months, and they launch on the platform every day. With right now, there are over 4,000 books available in Spanish and many more in the pipeline. These books are available for library purchase with DRM-free, unlimited simultaneous use, and perpetual access licenses. And as I said, new books go live every day that are right away available for library acquisition. So for more information, we'll be dropping a link in the chat where you can see our webpage. I'm very, very grateful for our many partners that have helped us and worked with us in this endeavor. We're all trying our best, working together to make more books available to more libraries worldwide, and most importantly, discovered and read by audiences that might have never found the books otherwise. So I'm joined by several such friends and partners here today for this webinar. I thank you all for joining. And now I will pass it over to Jill and Sócrates to introduce our panel. Thank you very much.
Hi, thank you for coming to the webinar. My name is Sócrates Silva, and I'm the Latin American and Iberian Studies librarian at Columbia and Cornell Universities. I'm moderating this panel with my colleague Jill Barron, who is the librarian for Romance, Languages, and Literatures at Dartmouth College, and also the co-executive director of the seminar for the acquisition of Latin American library materials. So as Phil said, at SALALM, we've been sort of organizing these conversations with Project MUSE to talk to them about some of our preferences. SALALM is an organization composed of librarians, archivists, book dealers, book professionals, and scholars and students interested in collecting, preserving, and providing access to Latin American, Caribbean, Iberian, and Latino information resources in all formats. Today, with us to talk about this project that we've been working on with Project MUSE are Marco Tullia Giraldo Barreta, jefe editorial at Editorial Utadeo, Jaime Ivan Hurtado, founder and CEO of Hipertexto Netizen Digital Solutions. We might be joined later by Emilia Miranda, who's the directora de proyectos digitales at Siglo, and of course Phil, who we just met. So we'd like to start by having our panelists introduce themselves and give us a brief introduction to their firms. Nos gustaría que nos digan un poco sobre su empresa brevemente.
Okay, Marco, I think better you first.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Sócrates, and thank you to Project MUSE for this invitation. I'm Marco Giraldo Barreto. I'm the editor-in-chief at Universidad de Bogotá, Jorge Tadeo Lozano. Universidad de Bogotá, Jorge Tadeo Lozano is an institution, a 70-year-old institution. In fact, this is the year we are celebrating our 70th anniversary. And this is a kind of small university in Bogotá, Colombia. We have also two different campuses in Santa Marta and Cartagena. We have 4 faculties: social studies or social sciences, arts and design, natural sciences and engineering, and economic sciences. We offer graduate and undergraduate programs in Bogotá and in these other 2 cities. And Editorial Utadeo is the publishing area or the publishing office of the university. And we've been working with Project MUSE about 2 years and a half or 3 years. I don't know, I can't recall, but it all started for a happy coincidence during the pandemic when Project MUSE opened up their contents, and I just was browsing over Twitter and I found out about them, and well, so we're here.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Phil, Sócrates, Jill. Thank you very much to Project MUSE and SALALM for inviting me to this event. My name is Jaime Ivan Hurtado. I am the founder and CEO of Hipertexto Netizen. Our company operates in Colombia, but also in Mexico, and we have extended operations across 14 Latin American countries, working together with the publishers. At Hipertexto Netizen, we are dedicated to providing delivery and access to diverse range of academic, educational, technical, and literary content via advanced technology and specialized solutions. This mission is carried out by our dedicated team, which delivers innovative solutions across the entire publishing value chain, including content generation, transformation, management, expansion, and the enhancement of the user experience in the content delivery. To achieve this, we offer a variety of products, services, and operations in collaboration with hundreds of publishers throughout Latin America. In particular, for university and academic publishers in the region, we serve over 400 clients who use our products and services. For instance, our metadata management platforms called SIME provides specialized services alongside other focus on scientific and bibliometric advancements, as well as specialized platforms designed to showcase and disseminate all content formats through our technology. Thank you so much.
I think I can jump in now. Thank you so much, Phil, for the warm welcome. Thank you to our guests for being here, and thanks to everyone who's joining us for this webinar to learn more about these collections. So I'd really like to ask you all, the three of you, why you wanted to develop these partnerships. ¿Por qué quisieron desarrollar ese esfuerzo con Project MUSE?
Please, Marco, you are the first.
Okay, I just wait until someone gives me the word, but I think that now we're failing the word order. Okay, as I told you a little while ago, this was a really happy coincidence during the pandemic. So I don't know if some people of the audience can recall, but there was a time when Project MUSE opened up most of the content. I don't know if all of them during a short period of time. And a person whom I followed on Twitter just retweeted the content today. Started to explore what this was about. The thing is that just checking all the information, I realized that this was specifically a project from Johns Hopkins University, and by that time, if you recall the pandemic things, Johns Hopkins was like having real importance because they were following all the information about the contagions and all the information related to the virus pandemic was like the most important focus was on Johns Hopkins. So I just felt this was an opportunity for us to have a kind of visibility. When I started like browsing all the content, I realized that their focus and contents matched some of the things that we produce here at the university. As I told you, we have 4 faculties, but the editorial production focuses on the arts and design and social studies areas. And particularly social sciences was one of the most important focus on Project MUSE. So I just wrote an email. I think it was Phil, I don't know, I can't recall who replied to that email. And they said, yes, the only thing that you have to do is to sign a license. And that's what we did. And we started like uploading all our content. And what we have realized is that, in fact, that happy coincidence has led us to be in many libraries all around the world. And that's like the most important thing that we have. And we have noticed that in 2 years of experience with them. So that was a happy circumstance.
That is such a great story, Marco. Like, thank you so much for sharing. It really kind of gives a different gloss on the pandemic too, right? And the kind of the creative ways that things that came out of it. Yeah, Phil, were you going to speak?
Yeah, just to follow up on that point that Marco raised, during that period of time when, so many people were sent home and the institutional access that they might normally be getting became a challenge for many users. That really was a collaborative effort with many of our publishers. I think it was over 70 publishers that opened up just all of their content on Project MUSE for several months to help ease that during that period of time. And we learned a lot during those months about which content was used as well. And that was part of what helped us to understand that we needed to get more books in Spanish because the usage was so high once for the little amount that we had at the time, once it was opened up to more people. So that really let us know that this was the demand was out there, and it was absolutely worth pursuing.
Jaime.
Yes, I heard Marco, and obviously Marco has the publisher vision. Also, Marco is the president of ASEUC in Colombia, and is the vision of the publisher. Now, first of all, from Hypertexto Netizen, considering the focus of this event, I think that it's important to highlight the robust relationship that we have cultivated with all these publishers, with many university publishers around Latin America, and the agreement that we have in place. These partnerships have enabled us to collaborate with Project MUSE to bring specialized content to all participants, curate content with high academic standards. Our collaboration with Project MUSE began last year and has since yielded compelling results that benefit all stakeholders involved: authors, publishers, librarians, and of course, the discerning readers who now have access to this content through this remarkable initiative. Now, over the years, we have launched numerous platforms allowing publishers to promote and sell their content through our tailored digital ecosystem. I am talking about hypertext on netizen services. Additionally, our long-standing international agreements enable us to distribute content across various business models, including an extensive worldwide network of ebook stores, subscription models, and general libraries. Now, at Hypertext on Netizen, we have always recognized the significance of our scientific, technical, and academic publisher clients. This recognition led us to spend the past 2 years exploring the market for specialized solutions and programs that are highly regarded, aiming to provide the exceptional services we sought. Our discovery of Project MUSE, it was a very important thing and a pivotal moment, witnessing the endorsements from several prominent US institutions and having the chance to connect directly with Kelly, with Phil in this webinar, with Anne, and the exceptional team made it clear that we were in the right place with the perfect partners to launch this initiative. I believe we share a common goal: to assist publishers in expanding their reach through specialized and customized library services, ensuring high quality standards and specialized solutions. Thank you.
Well, thank you. And what I want to ask next is if you can describe in some detail the steps involved in the supply chain for these books. So how do they get from the author to the publisher to MUSE, and then consequently to discoverable by the end user? ¿Pueden describirnos los pasos integrados en la cadena de suministro de estos libros? ¿Cómo llegan a MUSE desde la editora y luego al final al usuario? And I think I'll start with Jaime, if you could take that.
Okay, I suspect that I was the first. We have had the opportunity of establishing a robust, professional, and efficient workflow with Project MUSE. This collaboration enables us to provide accurate metadata and files for the publishers we represent who have agreed to participate in the Project MUSE program. One of our standout developments at Hypertext on Netizen is SIME, Sistema Integrado de Metadata Estandarizada. Currently, SIME is the leading metadata platform for technical and academic publishers in Latin America. I will share the URL after in the chat. While we are engaged in other specialized and exciting projects based on SIME, this platform ensures that the enriched metadata managed directly by the publishers can be delivered to Project MUSE in the correct ONIX standard format. Additionally, SIME features have enabled us to provide more enriched and accurate metadata for each product. Other classification standards within SIME, like TIMA and BISAC, have proven invaluable to us. It is important to highlight that for the past 8 years, Hypertext on Netizen has spearheaded a significant initiative to offer best practices, promote and provide publishers with various options for managing and enriching their metadata according to established standards and procedures. Notably, we have entered into a special agreement with EULAC. EULAC is the Latin American and Caribbean University Publisher Association. Phil mentioned that at the beginning. This agreement grants nearly 400 associate publishers access to use SIME on a complementary basis to the SIME Básico. SIME Básico is a free model for all publishers, And additionally, we are thrilled that close to 100 university publishers are leveraging our semi-premium. This is a platform with some cost for the publishers, premium model. For instance, we have an ongoing agreement with Red Al Texto in Mexico. Mexico is the association that groups all academic and university association publishers in Mexico. And we have over more than 50 Mexican publishers are utilizing semi-premium to manage and enhance their metadata. Furthermore, we are in the process of finalizing agreements with nearly 90 universities publishers to move forward with Project MUSE. Then, for this meeting, it is crucial to underscore that the workflow we have developed with Project MUSE is a direct result of our long-standing efforts with publishers. As such, we anticipate a significant increase in the more than 3,000 ebooks we have already delivered to the Project MUSE system until now. Moving forward, Project MUSE will provide further details on delivering content to the libraries and end users, completing the overview on the comprehensive solution and service. Thank you.
Thank you. Marco, you want to go next?
Thank you, Jill. Well, first of all, I have to admit that we are not a big office. I mean, in terms of the people who work here, we are an office of 5 people, 6 including me. So this is for you to know that you don't need to have like a big office or a huge or strong structure in order to participate in it. Having that in mind, and regarding the supply chain, well, of course, we have all this, we have an editorial committee. We submit all our publications to evaluation, to double peer evaluation. And once we have the results of the evaluation, we start the publishing processes according to the results of that evaluation. I mean, if the evaluations are positive, well, we start the process and we like begin the proofreading and the design process and everything. So it's like quite normal, the process that we already know in the supply chain of the editorial production. The thing is that as we are a small office, one person is only in charge of distribution, and this person coordinates both the physical and the digital distribution. And she's the person who helps us upload the information in MUSE. Of course, what you as a publisher have to do is to fill in all the metadata regarding the books that you're sending. And that is something that maybe we, and when I say we, I refer to publishers in general in Colombia and Latin America, we have to be a little bit more careful with the metadata. Because as Jaime Juan has stated, and as maybe Emilia, who already, she's already here, we have talked in different conversations. The thing is that when you don't know like how categorize in a very good way all the metadata for your books are not going to have that reader that you're looking for. And it's quite difficult because when you have all these offices are this small, well, you as an editor, you don't have like the mind or the time to make this curatorial task. But in any case, when you try to do your best, like filling in all the metadata, and you upload to MUSE, MUSE has these 2 different like ways to reach the readers. And that has been very good because when we included, or we have decided to include all our contents in the collections that they have prepared. So when the readers or the institutions know exactly the collections, well, they're gonna browse the titles over there. So that's gonna be like the good connection that you have with the final reader after the process or the manuscript goes all through the editorial process. In the end, it is very important for us as publishers to know that metadata have like a huge role in that communication between the author, the publisher, and the final reader.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it's great to hear sort of those details from your perspective. Welcome, Emilia. It's great to have you here. Bienvenida.
Muchas gracias. Perdón la demora.
No, no, está bien, todo bien. Que estamos hablando un poco de por qué quisieron trabajar con Project MUSE y un poco ahora sobre los pasos integrados en la cadena de suministro de estos libros, cómo llegan a Project MUSE, ¿no? Entonces, no sé si quiere hablar un poco de su perspectiva como, y hablar un momento sobre su rol en Siglo.
Sí. Bueno, voy a hablar en español también para hacer honor a los contenidos latinoamericanos que estamos llevando al mundo desde Colombia y particularmente desde el proyecto de la distribución digital de Siglo. Nosotros a grandes rasgos pues comenzamos hace 11 años también a dibujar este mapa de la distribución digital y cómo alineábamos eso al trabajo que ya Siglo venía desde hace más de 20 años en la distribución y en la difusión del conocimiento académico colombiano. Un dato importante y para mapear un poco lo que nosotros estamos trabajando al día de hoy, el proyecto de la distribución digital en Siglo cuenta con 75 editoriales. De ellas, 35 son editoriales académicas nacionales, para nosotros pues editoriales colombianas, y 22 editoriales internacionales que van un poco entre en Chile, Ecuador, Perú, Argentina, España, y eso hace pues un conglomerado de títulos que ya van alrededor de los 9.000. ¿Sí? Cuando nosotros empezamos a trabajar la distribución digital, pensábamos, bueno, ¿cuál es el mapa que hay de guía para lanzar esos contenidos al mundo? Entonces, había todo un mundo de distribución para el usuario final, que para nosotros es importante esa venta retail de 1 a 1, pero también había un mapa quizás un poco explorado para bibliotecas, ¿sí? Y es ahí donde nosotros empezamos a hacer alianzas con diferentes plataformas y canales también de distribución, con diferentes modelos que seguramente quizás hablamos un poquito más adelante, y empezamos a descubrir, ¿no? Como ese mundo. Ese mundo pues ya nos ha llevado hoy a pisar 106 países a nivel pues, mundial, y tenemos también geolocalizadas las bibliotecas con las que estamos trabajando, con esos canales. Estados Unidos, pues nada, es un mundo también como un continente entero para explorar para nosotros. Y hay como muchos centros de estudios latinoamericanos, hay mucho interés por el contenido académico latinoamericano, y allí es bonito lo que les decía, que no solamente trabajamos con editoriales nacionales, sino también con internacionales, y hablamos todas un mismo idioma, ¿no? Tratamos de hablar español, de las investigaciones que están haciendo las universidades y cómo hacerlas conocer a las bibliotecas. Y ahí viene un punto pues muy importante también, y es el tema de los metadatos, que lo comentaba un poco también Jaime, y es cómo nosotros ayudamos a los editores a contribuir a esa metadata que se va con esos libros a recorrer el mundo, ¿no? Y en este caso pues las bibliotecas. Y es un trabajo muy especializado y muy cuidado que hacemos desde Siglo para que eso funcione, porque creemos que sin metadatos pues no vamos a lograr la visibilidad que necesitan nuestros libros. Hay un punto también importante en el que ayudamos a los editores, y es en el trabajo del rescate del fondo histórico de los libros, y es un trabajo que también hemos hecho con Marco para la Tadeo, y es revisar de ese universo del catálogo editorial que todavía no está disponible, ¿sí? Porque sabemos que pues son muy importantes las novedades. 2, 3 años para atrás estamos vendiendo y divulgando muy bien esos libros, pero ¿qué hay más atrás, no? ¿Qué hay de ediciones antiguas, de ediciones anteriores, de esos libros que ya no están en el circuito de comercialización del libro, que no están en la divulgación en librería, porque ya no son novedades, pero que el digital les da una nueva vida? Y sobre todo en estas nuevas alianzas que hacemos con canales como MUSE, esos libros que nunca estuvieron disponibles en impreso, quizás para las bibliotecas, y en digital sí tienen esa vida. También es importante como rescatar en este flujo el trabajo continuo con el editor que hacemos, ¿no? Que tratamos de tener reuniones periódicas, vernos en las ferias del libro para conocer qué son las novedades, cuáles son las nuevas políticas. También, pues, todo este trabajo que hacemos con las otras plataformas nos da un mapa de interés de cuáles son las áreas temáticas que más están comprando, cuáles son los años de edición que también que funcionan muy bien en la divulgación. Y eso nos ayuda a que esa información de otros editores más grandes, con más catálogo, con más colecciones, ayuden a los chiquitos. Entonces, ahí también nosotros los trabajamos a todos por igual, en el sentido de que todos estamos empujando el mismo barco para lograr la visibilidad de los libros académicos, y muy seguramente experiencias de los más grandes o de los más específicos, de los que tienen nichos más marcados, les sirve a los otros que quizás están comenzando. O sea, también tenemos editoriales que arrancaron hace 3, 4 años ya consolidadas como editorial universitaria y tienen 15 títulos, ¿no? Pero se suman a este barco con nosotros y nos ayudan a enriquecer el catálogo. El flujo simplemente es, nosotros recibimos la información de los editores, recibimos los contenidos. Como les digo, trabajamos muy arduamente por los metadatos, porque sin metadatos no somos nada, y sobre todo porque nuestros títulos nosotros no traducimos los títulos, no traducimos las reseñas, ellos van como fueron creados, y la metadata es realmente lo que está hablando con el bibliotecario, lo que está hablando con la plataforma, las categorías BISAG, las categorías tema, el DEWI. Esa realmente es lo que habla con el bibliotecario y nuestros títulos. Entonces ahí somos como muy especiales en hacer muy bien esa catalogación. Y la conexión con MUSE también nace para abrir nuevos escenarios, conocer nuevas experiencias y ampliar nuestro catálogo de visibilidad. Muchas gracias.
Gracias. We wanted to know a little bit more about kind of your priorities as a publisher, what your and to learn a little bit more about the titles within this project and how they fit within your larger publishing agenda. La primera pregunta es, ¿cuáles son sus prioridades editoriales? ¿Qué línea de editorial trabajan?
Sí, nosotros tenemos, como les comentaba, pues un fuerte nicho en editoriales académicas, nacionales e internacionales, muy enfocadas a las ciencias sociales. Nuestro catálogo es 34% de ciencias humanas y sociales, ¿sí? Pero no quiere decir que no tengamos más de otras áreas. O sea, hay de medicina, hay de educación, que se entrelazan un poco, ¿no? Hay política también, el derecho es muy fuerte para nosotros, pero eso va muy alineado también a las políticas editoriales de las universidades, ¿sí? En el caso de siglo distribuidor, en el caso de siglo editorial, que tengo que estar como con las dos cosas, nosotros trabajamos mucho con coediciones, ¿sí? Con las universidades. Entonces, en esas coediciones, nosotros tenemos unas colecciones muy pautadas sobre derecho, ciencias sociales también va muy ligada, porque son como esas editoriales aliadas que tenemos que publican esas áreas temáticas. Hemos incluido también género, que hace unos años está como produciéndose mucho. Y esas son como las tres grandes. Hay justicia transicional, que obviamente pues Colombia, por todo lo que ha pasado en los últimos años, también hay mucha producción en esa área temática, pero nos enfocamos también en temas coyunturales del país, ¿no? Tenemos varios libros sobre estallido social, y va por esa línea, ¿no? También como la pertinencia editorial del país, de qué es lo que está pasando, qué es lo que se está investigando. Ahí tenemos como el foco y la prioridad.
Gracias, Jaime. No te escuchamos, Jaime.
Thank you, Sócrates. Escuchando a Emilia, hearing Emilia talking about that, I think that obviously it's important in this case to have in mind what are the fields of the knowledge that Project MUSE is working, no? Because Project MUSE has a specific knowledge. But in our case, in hypertext on netizen, it is true that almost the majority of the university publishers in Latin America, the majority work specialized on the human sciences. But anyway, you know, all publishers publish every kind of contents. Then I think that it's important also to talk about the exact science and other kind of productions. I think, as Emilia commented, that if we can guarantee a good procedure of metadata, and obviously the TIMA, for example, like TIMA is TIMA. Nowadays, TIMA is TIMA, with the respect of the we and BISAC, but TIMA is interesting. If the publisher are doing the work that they need to do, that is to enrich the metadata, the all workflow that we can establish in this case with Project MUSE, and obviously with the librarians, that we can connect easily what kind of contents they need for their readers. Then I think that the key is the metadata, as Emilia commented, and to have in mind that all publishers in Latin America publish every kind of contents, no? Thank you.
Thank you, Marco. I just wanted to give you an opportunity to say a little bit about what kind of things you publish at your press.
Thank you, Sócrates. Well, as I told you a little while ago, we mainly focus on research books, like books that have been the result of research processes. And mostly we focus on different, like in two big areas, social sciences and arts and design. These are the two areas because these are the two of the four faculties we have at the university. But that is like pretty wide. So we have books on arts, design, advertising, all things related to advertising and their dynamics. Studies regarding publishing. We, in fact, have collaborated also with Universidad de los Andes in their collection about publishing and editorial studies. We have architecture. I don't know if I already said that. Even we have one book regarding fashion, because fashion studies are very important at the university. And photography, we also have some titles regarding photography. And the thing is that although we have been focusing on publishing research material, it has been really important for us to reach new kind of readers. And that's why we're trying also to work with scientific dissemination. I don't know if that's the term in English, but also start working with translations. And for example, like 2 years ago, we published translation on title on architecture, which mixes like urbanism, social dynamics, and architecture. And this year we're going to publish, I don't know if that's a famous title in English or not, which is From Dissertation to Book. We're gonna have the title in Spanish, which is a book by William Germano from University of Chicago, regarding how to make good books out of dissertations from the doctoral dissertations. So we're trying to open new lines on regarding editorial, because we are pretty sure that, of course, our readers are academics, and that's a very important niche for us. But it is also very important to have I don't know how, to eliminate the barrier that we have in terms of knowledge for other type of readers, and that's what we are working right now.
Thank you. I mean, so you all seem to have a very big range of subjects and things that you publish. Why did you decide to include the books that you included in this project? for like the Project Muse platform?
For us personally, it was by defect. I mean, everything that we publish, we send it to Muse. Because as I told you a little while ago, I think that when I discovered the dynamics of Project Muse and the potential that it has for our contents, I said it was like a very huge platform for every single title for us. So well, as we've been talking during this session, one of the big focuses that Project Muse has is on social studies, and most of the titles that we publish are regarding or concerning this area of knowledge. So by default, most of our titles, I think like 70–80% of our titles just go through Muse, and we have like discovered that they have a very good potential in different universities. And that's, I don't know if we're talking about that later, but having this feedback from Muse when they tell you your book has reached these universities or has reached these countries, of course, has a big platform. So if you have a small number of titles, I don't know if you have by the beginning 10 titles to Muse, and then you check the information, the feedback that they give you, you just get encouraged to include more titles in the catalog. So for us, that was the most rewarding experience to have that first report from Muse. It encourages us to include all our titles in this platform.
Emilia, ¿cómo eligieron los libros que seleccionaron para ese proyecto?
Sí, nosotros, bueno, también es una política de la distribución. Nosotros enviamos todo el contenido que tenemos con derechos disponibles a Muse. En ese sentido, para también explorar como la ventana completa y ver realmente cuál es el feedback que nos va a traer la plataforma con las universidades que hagan contacto. Este es un ejercicio que hacemos porque realmente no queremos como ser nosotros mismos los que censuremos de alguna manera los títulos, sino que realmente darles la oportunidad de que vean el mundo, que el mundo los vea a ellos y ya como pues, que la biblioteca escoja los títulos, ¿no? Creemos que hay títulos que a veces tienen mucho potencial y nos ha pasado que creemos que son muy específicos colombianos, que son muy específicos de una investigación de la universidad como muy interna, y al final lo compran en España, lo compran en Finlandia, entonces como que ese título tiene una salida. Realmente tratamos de dejarnos sorprender. Hay algunos que quizás que son ya por área temática, que son muy libros infantiles, o libros quizás de agricultura muy particular, de una siembra de algo muy particular colombiano, no lo subimos, ¿no? Pero el gran catálogo lo estamos enviando a Muse.
Okay, I'm going to move to the last question that I have. As librarians, at least speaking for me and Jill, we prefer platforms that are DRM free, which is one of the reasons why we appreciate Project Muse. But we understand that for publishers, this represents a perceived risk. And I just want to know how you kind of overcame any concerns that you might have had about Muse and their DRM-free platform.
En nuestro caso, es una discusión que seguimos teniendo, no es algo que está resuelto porque es difícil, ¿no? Hay todavía mucha resistencia, pero creo que también nos ayuda la confianza que generan ciertas plataformas y ciertos canales en tener ese tipo de DRM. Y es una conversación de análisis, de ver pros y contras, de tener un modelo así. Obviamente estamos muy abiertos a DRM sociales, pero bueno, hay algunas editoriales que todavía tienen resistencia y ahí tratamos es de apostar por lograr una mayor visibilidad, ¿no? Creo que hay que poner en una balanza qué ganamos y qué perdemos con diferentes tipos de DRM y obviamente muy alineado a lo que hemos trabajado por todos estos años es lograr mayor visibilidad. Si con eso logramos mayor visibilidad, vamos por ese camino y confiamos. Y además que también pues ya en los últimos años no se habla quizás tanto, pero eso también ayuda a contrarrestar la piratería. Entonces tenemos que como ir cambiando un poco la manera de pensar.
I would like to add, Sócrates, one thing. The DRM is one of the most complicated things that happens in the publishing industry from the beginning when explode the ebook industry. Then, I mean, what is my idea? If you are selling maybe in stores, in other business models, my personal opinion and my recommendation that this is important to use DRM and a hard DRM. Obviously, when I talk about hard DRM, I am talking about a usable DRM because maybe some of the DRMs that exist in the market are terrible. But in my personal opinion, and it's the recommendation that we are spreading the recommendation with our publishers, because the publishers are who take the decision about, okay, I have the interest to work with Project MUSE, and I know that Project MUSE work in a specific way with the DRM. In this case, for our opinion, the DRM free system that Project MUSE has is good for different reasons. Number one, for the kind of the readers and librarians that are having some agreements, but especially because Project MUSE has their internal and own systems to deliver the content. Then my personal feeling to finalize is that in this case, the DRM is and in this case for the librarians is an advantage because it guarantees a more efficiently and usable and open access for your readers, your clients. And I think that works. But obviously, if we are working on different channels, maybe we need to have a different point of view. Thank you.
Yeah, I kind of agree with Amelia and with Jaime. I mean, in an editorial office, you may have different business models for different of your for your many different publications. For example, many universities in Colombia have open access, like from the very beginning of their universities, and they don't use any platform. They just leave their books in the repositories. Some of them like make it available through sale in a physical format and of course digital format. And in the digital format, you have a whole different universe for each platform even. So I don't think there's a conflict between what you would like to get with the distribution of the content. I don't think that it affects if there are if there is a protection by the DMR or not. It depends on the platform. But we, at least as a publisher, have in mind some other thing besides the income for the editorial, which is important. But it is also regarding the dynamics of science in the world. By that, what do I mean? You have to quote your authors, and your researchers are quoting works from other researchers in their field of interest, or the field or the area that they are researching. So I don't know. I don't think it's not incompatible to have different kinds of protection and different ways to circulate your material, because every platform has like their specificals, and they don't cause a problem. In fact, if we are looking for readers, and especially in a very close, I don't know if it is close, but in a very specific field, which is the research, and we are looking for readers interested in academic contents, well, we have to be open, and we have to find like different ways to get to those readers. And of course, we're not talking only about readers in Colombia. We're talking about readers in the whole world, right? So I don't know. It depends, and in the end, I think that both have different possibilities.
Yeah, and just to speak a bit on that point, we're always trying to balance the importance of protecting the content and making sure that there's no abuse on the platform. And we have many systems in place, that do that, track usage that might be robotic or anything like that, and CAPTCHA and things to make sure that the site is not being scraped in any illicit way, while also not putting up roadblocks for users, roadblocks for librarians who are authenticated and should have access to the content, but that might stymie their ability to use it and to cite it and to make it have the effect that it's meant to have. So it's really an important part of our mission is the DRM free elements of not prohibiting users from engaging with the books as they should once they're on the platform. But I do understand that there are many complications and different points of view about that from and on different models and different platforms.
I'm going to sort of conclude our portion of this because I do want to make sure we have time to answer some of the questions that have come in, with a sort of a mashup of a question related to the business model and the sales model for this content. I'm curious, Phil, if you can just give us briefly, a little more information on how you're packaging these books for sale. And I'm wondering if our other panelists can talk about a little bit about the market for electronic academic publishing in Latin America, and how do you balance the needs of, say, a researcher in a US institution with the needs of researchers in other parts of the world?
Sure. So to talk a bit about how these books are available, they are available through all of the book models that we have always had. So we have collection options for large amounts of books that include some level of discounting based on the amounts and the type of institution purchasing. We also have title by title, single title purchases through Gobi and Oasis. So if libraries prefer to use those storefronts to acquire, and we also have evidence-based acquisition as an option for libraries. So all of these titles flow into those options, and our sales team can essentially create any customized collection or package for a library based on what they're looking for. So we can scope a collection to just include books that are in Spanish, or just include books that are from a certain country or on a certain topic, depending on what a library is looking for. So there's a broad range of options for libraries. And I did put a link in the chat just that has the basic information about that for anybody who wants to learn more or get in touch about it. But our goal is really to meet libraries where they are with their needs and budget in a way that also returns sustaining revenue back to the publishers.
Thanks, Phil. And I don't know if one of you wants to address the question about the market and the differences that you perceive in the US academic market and other parts of the world. ¿Cómo equilibraron las necesidades del mercado académico estadounidense con las del mercado académico latinoamericano o de otras partes?
I would like to comment something about this, Jill. If you see, for example, the mission statement that we have in Hypertexto, one part of this statement says, our commitment will continue to contribute to better world by spreading knowledge through technology. Then, why I referring to that? Every time that we connect a publisher in any country of Latin America to Project Muse, we know and we are feeling that we are experiencing the content from a market that before didn't exist. Then my topic is the US market is very important for the Latin American publishers. And obviously all of us have a big opportunity to be there. the metadata, the system, the technology, the projects like Project Muse are working on that. And my personal feeling is that is the way to reach new goals and to have new deployments. In our case, in Hypertexto Netizen, we have right now more than 3,000 titles, but we have at least close to 80 publishers that are ready to start to work with Project Muse. We have a lot of work, Phil, and your team, but the feeling is, in every case, we are feeling that we are doing something that is important because before these contents didn't exist in the catalogs. This is my opinion. Yeah, thank you.
So,
No, perdón, no, solamente.
Adelante.
Nosotros vamos, quizás por la misma manera, porque somos también como muy parecidos, y es, nada, conectarnos con tecnología, con canales, con plataformas que nos ayuden a llegar a esos mercados, y que finalmente los contenidos circulen y se conozcan, que no queden solo para nosotros internamente.
So I know we're getting to time, so we want to address some of the questions that are in the chat. One is towards Project Muse. Is Project Muse limited to ebook resources? Have you explored print-on-demand options for this content to make physical copies available to U.S. libraries?
No, print on demand is not something that Project Muse does. So that would be, but we do provide links for every title if it's provided in the metadata for accessing the publisher's website and purchasing, print copies directly from them, and that those links come directly from the publisher, so the publisher can choose which storefront they want to send users to purchase print copies.
Great. The next question was about metadata, and it just disappeared, but it was about whether metadata is included in both Spanish and English.
I would like to respond this question.
Yeah.
For example, I comment about CIME. CIME, for example, has the number of languages that the publishers want to use: Spanish, English, French, etc. Then what is my point? The most important thing right now is, okay, the publishers has a solution. In our case, is CIME. It will be exist other solutions, but the publisher is the responsible to collect and to enrich the metadata. Then, if we give to the publishers the platforms, the resources, if we emphasize in the best practices, I think that little by little, some publishers, as happens right now, we will work the metadata in English. But to be honest, I know that maybe more than the 99% of the publishers that work with metadata, they are working directly in Spanish and not in other languages. This is a very important topic to talk. Thank you.
So we have a question from Adan Diego that also takes us to other platforms. For Project Muse, some of the Gobi entries are noted as e-content generic vendor instead of the standard bibliographic citation, which I find misleading. I would like to see the publisher listed. I'm not sure if that's a Gobi question or a Project Muse question.
That is something that I will bring to Matthew Treskin, our metadata specialist, to look into. It sounds like an error on one end or the other, but we work closely with Gobi to always resolve those when we are alerted to them. So thank you very much. But I will let Matthew know. Thank you.
Some of the questions that were in the chat have been answered by our panelists in writing, so please take a look at those. I think that was the last question that we had, correct? I know that we're at time. Phil, do you wanna close us out?
Sure. I just want to thank everybody so much for joining today. Really, it was great to see you all, see the panel, engage in this conversation, and to see so many people joining in the audience. If there were any questions that were not answered, I invite you to please reach out to us, and we'd be happy to get back to you. And then if anybody has any last links they want to share in the chat, please do, if you want to share anything with the users. But just thank you all for joining. Oh, this was recorded, and we will be sending out a link to everybody who registered, whether or not you signed on, within the next day or two as it goes online. So stay tuned for that. But thank you so much. I hope everybody has a great day. Buenas tardes.
Thank you.
Buenas
you.
tardes.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Adiós.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye.